What's good, gamers? Welcome back to the channel. Today I will bring you guys a tier list again. And yeah, it's been a little while. The format has kind of evolved quite a lot actually. And on the last meta preview, you guys all said I was crazy for saying that Tenji Brave would be the best deck. That Tenji was not tier 0. How can there ever be two tier 0 decks at the same time? Um, you guys are all coping because I was completely fucking right. Brave was definitely the best deck of the format. If your deck doesn't run Brave, it's probably not as good as the rest. Um, Two decks quickly rose above. In your guys' defense, it wasn't really Dragon Link. That was slightly worse than the Tenji Pao, but the Tenji Pao definitely is just hands down the very best deck of the format. And yeah, I was right. You guys were wrong, like always. Subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. But for this video, we're going to take a look at the little meta, and to kind of make it a little bit easier, I've already put on a couple of decks in no particular order, because this list expands every single time, but I will talk about it really quick. There's a couple of decks I can see now, by the way, that are still that still should be in like this tier. Earth Machine is basically the most unplayable, rate playable. There is no reason you should play any of this deck in the format right now. It's just not good to play those decks. So we have tier 0, which would be the best deck, and we're just gonna put Brave as alone in there. The Brave engine is just simply tier 0. There's no defense. It's just the best. If your deck plays Brave, you're already ahead. Tier 1 will probably be 1 or 2 decks. Tier 2 is everything that's viable on tournament play, but that will probably be a little bit of a struggle to top with. Rogue is something that will be more of a struggle, and everything is just why would you play this? What I put here was Altergeist. This is in no particular order, by the way. Altergeist is just god awful. Traps are very bad and should not be played this meta, as you will see with a couple more competent decks a little bit later. Numeron just doesn't do anything at all right now. More traps doesn't do anything. Dinos cannot run Brave, so they are already very far behind, just like Metal Chain. BA, which way you play it, will always be inferior to just the side TPE turbo from the PK deck, so there's no reason to play PA. I do not have to talk about their machines. Adegnister cannot run Brave, so it's not good at all. Salads, unexplored. There are a couple of lists that could be good. Some Cyber Turbo decks, but Salad as itself is just not good. Life Twins completely got rechoed and fell off. Dragons, Dragon Maid will not be good. Heroes cannot play Brave, so it's not really that good. Adamant Spader cannot play Brave, it's not really good. ABC. Don't really know what's on this list anymore. There's a couple of old lists. We should update this relatively soon, but for now I thought it would suffice. Infernoble, it's just a bad combo deck right now. It's not going to work. Trident is banned, and yeah, this has only one Desires now, so it actually completely fell off. Let's talk about the other decks right now. We have Drytron. Definitely just the best deck of the format. I think this is very low tier 2, arguably Rogue. Within a meta where everyone just plays hand traps and hand traps and hand traps and hand traps, there is no way that Drytron will ever succeed. And it definitely shows this deck is long for what it has been. It is doing relatively okay at regional level, but this deck should not exist right there. And yeah, now that people are running more and more hand traps again, the deck's gonna fall off completely and just be irrelevant in quite a while. So do not expect any more Drytron deck profiles in the near future. EK is definitely better than Dry's, but definitely not tier 1. PK also very much loses to every Antwerp in the game. Goes over, loses to Ash, it loses to Nibiru, it loses to. This is not a good time for the PK deck. I do not think Sight is good at all. This meta, you will never really resolve it anyway. I just think that there are just way better decks than PK right now. It's like okay, it could do well at regional level, but I don't know. Ranks with Brave. It's actually kind of nuts. Took down a regional win here in the Netherlands, and last local. I mean, I know it's just a local. I know it won, but I know that Rafael Nevin and Suffer also played it, and I actually have been trying to make it. I have it over here. somewhere. I think this deck is actually kind of insane with Brave. It's just so versatile, can run so many of the cards, and you always have your engine. It's pretty nuts. Dragoning definitely is still one of the tier 1 decks with the Brave stuff, but I feel like it's either very high tier 2 or very low tier 1. So I'm gonna put it at the end right here as the gatekeeper of the tier 1 decks. Shadow. There's no reason to run anything for Alistair. Whereas Alistair is probably the same thing. Yeah, these three decks are all very entwined. Spellcaster control, spellcaster good stuff, however you want to call it. It's just not a good place to be with the Gamma running around, the Ash running around. It does play through Ogre decent, but there's just not a singular reason why you should run this meta. You don't gain anything. The Brave engine completely destroys your Winda as well with the Drago back. There's no gain in playing spellcaster control right now, so why would you do that? Eldritch. A couple of Eldritch deck. If it were be the trap deck, I would put it all the way over here. I do think, however, that the Bao Eldritch decks are pretty good. Running only a very small amount of traps in the deck and a very high of hand traps, and yeah, we're kind of in this loop again, similar to the last meta breakdown. It's kind of similar right now as well. And I think this deck is viable, definitely. But you cannot run traps. Traps are just awful right now. Then we have the Goon decks. Not really good anymore. It just doesn't do anything, doesn't accomplish anything. DPE is just way better. Sky Striker, I would put this above the PK deck because it can run those hand traps and it has a little bit of a better matchup against a lot of things. But I do not think that Sky Striker is good. I do not think you should pick Sky Striker over any of the tier 1 decks unless you really like it. But, you know, we're getting more Sky Striker support in the near future. I don't know who asked for that, but I'm very happy for you that you got it. I did it. Volkswagen, as much as I would love to put it over here, I feel like this is a deck with a lot of potential, but the same issue as PK is it just dies to the same hand traps. Just dies to the same hand traps that every other deck does. So Virtual World never really could play through that many hand traps in the first place. Now it dodges the Imperm and it dodges the Failure, but in the high risk, high value builds you have to run now, you kind of have to run Hulk Vibrex and then you play into those hand traps again, and I don't like that at all. It's just not in a good spot. This is Rogue. This is Rogue. You served as well, Guru. You served as well. Try better than the Virtual World. I would say this is better than the... I would put this over here, probably. I like this deck, the DPE version. I like it a lot. Definitely lacks the fact that you can't run Brave. But it's a good deck. It's a good deck. And the best of the rest. Simply degenerate, very easy win conditions. It's just easy to beat your opponent with this deck, and it's easy to lose to as well. Sometimes there's just games that you cannot do anything. But the downside of this deck is that the moment that your opponent is prepared, it's the moment that you're gonna lose. So, Flow on the Reese, definitely good tier 2 deck. But this is definitely a worse DPE deck than this. It's a deck I have to say something about B-Trooper, and I don't know what to say about B-Trooper except that I would like to see it here. Birds fell off, got ratioed. Could be a good engine, but despite that, completely fell off. Sword Soul. I'm not sure where I should put this one, but I'm gonna put it over here. Could be a little bit more in the middle of the tier 2 decks. I still think it's good. I do very much believe that the limit, the ceiling of this deck has just been reached. Yeah, no matter how hard you try with this deck, it's not going to get more result out of it than you would like. Best deck of the format, Tenchi Pao. Tenchi Pao is just insane. Tenchi Pao is just the best deck. Tenchi Pao is the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! For the next couple of weeks. I expect this format to uphold until after the YCS that have just been announced. I do think there's going to be a bandlist mid-April, I hope, at best. But we're going to have to see. But I think that this deck will definitely be the best deck until then. And this meta needs a lot of fixing. And I don't know how they're gonna do that without banning a lot of cards. And the last deck that we're gonna have to talk about is DDD. Some people would put it here. Some people would put it here. The deck fucking sucks. The deck fucking sucks. What have I told you? You do not have to read any DDD card. If you're sitting at your local, at your regional, your YCS, your opponent playing DDD, and you're like, I have to read all these cards. I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose this game because I have to read all the cards. And then your opponent says, yeah, I can play through 2-3 hand traps. They're lying. This deck sucks. All you have to do is Vader the Gilgamesh. Good job. You won. Good job. That's it. That's it. You won. It doesn't matter. 90% of the time, you can just ash their contract and they scoop. And they scoop. This deck is, if you're a very, very good player, you can make this deck work. You can see the lines, you can play through a couple of stuff. But if you're a really good player, if you think of yourself that you're really good with DDDs, why would you not just play a better deck? Why would you not just play Tenjin Pao? There's no point in wasting your time in DDD. No point whatsoever. The deck sucks. The deck loses to Lightning Storm, Call Spell, and Traps. It's... What do I have to say? People keep playing this deck. They keep playing this deck. I was at a regional this weekend. It was really funny. And at round 5-6, at round 5, there were 5 DDD players at Top Cut tables. 5. They were doing pretty good. Like table 1, table 3, table 4, table 7, you know, pretty good. They were all like EXO. There were none in the top 16 because it sucks. The deck sucks so much. It's so bad. Why would you play it? Alright. That's been it. People were mad last time we didn't address DDD. And I think I addressed it enough now that we have a little bit more knowledge about it, the meta. This is what I think it's good. Brave's just insane. Play Brave. Not much to add. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye guys.